Out of all video game franchises, 32-year-old Fire Emblem is still doing what it's best at, bringing the dead tactical RPG in its own style. It's been more than 3 years since the release of Fire Emblem Three Houses that sold millions of copies, making Fire Emblem series one of the big boys of Nintendo's gang after 29 years. I did enjoy Fire Emblem Three Houses as it has dark and brutal story that is quite similar to Tactics Ogre's war crimes and bloody medieval setting. However, although I played lots of Fire Emblem games, I dropped most of them around 70 to 80% into their story. I think I just lose my curiosity in general and kinda give up on continuing it. And like lots of Fire Emblem fans, Awakening and Three Houses changed this. And I don't know how, the new installment Fire Emblem Engage hooked me to itself. To be frank, I have lots of critiques about its story, especially on how lighthearted it is. I told you I love Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre. Tactical JRPGs with medieval, war crimes and dark fantasy is my weak spot. On the contrast, Fire Emblem Engage offered quite a solid gameplay, challenging battles and memorable journey with shallow, good guys versus the evil setting during my 46 hours of gameplay time. I'm Arcade Out here and today I'll be talking about the new Fire Emblem that brings all Fire Emblem main characters from their long slumber. Fire Emblem Engage starts a bit quick, as the main character being a Divine Dragon, everyone being our simp, us fighting against the Fell Dragon and then falling to sleep for 1000 years. After 1000 years, we wake up to see that forces of the Fell Dragon are on the move again, and depending on your choice of either Colgate-chan or Colgate-kun, you must travel between the 4 kingdoms to collect these emblem rings to fight against the Fell Dragon that is about to ravage the land. Unlike Three Houses, Fire Emblem Engage kinda feels like Fire Emblem Awakening at first. Us gathering allies against a bigger threat, not choosing a side to shape the story. Starting with the corrupted that are like forces of evil, bandits and fights between other kingdoms, Fire Emblem Engage has this low-key shonen anime vibes of power of friendship rather than dark Fire Emblem atmosphere of war crimes, slaughter and betrayal. Normally I would just quit after a while when I play such cheerful kinda games, but Fire Emblem Engage hooked me to itself with its combat and challenging fights alongside with more serious story that happens after chapter 14, I would say. Starting with the kingdom of Chinese bootleg Dimitri called Alfred, characters from different kingdoms present themselves and the main dark events of Engage start to happen around the mid-game, right around the third kingdom of Elusia. The first kingdom of Fren might seem a bit colorful or cheerful, but starting with Brodia and obtaining different emblem rings like Royal Fire Emblem The Binding Blade, things starting to get interesting. It does not offer any family drama like Fire Emblem Fates or any academy life like Three Houses. Engage tries to bring back the old Fire Emblem formula with the fan favorite mechanics and the new emblem ring element that lets you to fight with 12 different characters of Fire Emblem franchise like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or Persona series. Starting with the first main character of Fire Emblem series March, we have Sigurd, Celica, Corrin, Violet, Lyn, Roy, Erika, Leaf, Micaiah, Lucina and Ike as emblem rings that can equipped by every character, bestowing unique power when engaged during the battle, making things a bit more interesting and fun for you. Each and every emblem warriors has their own unique playstyle that will help you to gain upper hand, and although there are no good or bad emblem warriors, there are characters who are destined to wear these rings if you want to make things a bit easier for you throughout your journey. Overall, I think I like this new emblem ring and engage mechanics as they help you to strategize your way, enable flashy moves, making the Fire Emblem Engage experience deeper and even more challenging. As a side note, each and every emblem ring has their own trial that would unlock their bond potential up to level 20, and their trial battle is a homage to their original works that I'm sure would satisfy long Fire Emblem fans. These emblem warriors carry their own weapons. They are not just like a cash grab fan service, but they are like a link between the worlds. I just liked it, even though I never consider myself as a Fire Emblem fan.
なんとか勝てました。この試練をよく乗り越えた。素晴らしい戦いぶりだったよ。ベレトに比べれば、私はまだまだです。謙遜する必要はない。身も心も十分に強くなっている。
As a side note, I played Fire Emblem Engage in hard mode and tinkered a lot with characters, trying to figure which characters are good and which are plain shit. There are more than 30 characters that will join you on your quest, and sadly the maximum units that can be deployed are 12, meaning that some will just be ignored for the rest of their life. Don't be ever afraid of grinding levels as Fire Emblem Engage has auto battle mode. You can literally see the outcome merely in 3 to 5 minutes if you skip all the battle animations and select this auto battle mode. Here I would like to give you some tips and tricks for my fellow followers. For the early game, be sure to level up Celine, the sister of Chinese bootleg Dimitri, as she is probably the most broken character until the mid game. As for the mid and late game, I would only say trust in Kagetsu. As voiced by the Dio Brando of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, this dude can have critical chance up to 45% and can one-hit even bosses if you're lucky enough. I gave Lin's ring to Kagetsu and let him do his own work, as Lin grants him the ability to create this shadow clone jutsu kind of thing that can aggro the enemy and to perform a counter-attack if anyone attacks these clone doubles. You will see these Kagetsu's clones kill maybe 4 or 5 different enemies while they dodge and counterattack while you focus on other threats. God bless Kagetsu and his Japanese voice actor Takehito Koyasu. You are the real heroes. Besides that, each main character of the kingdoms are quite efficient, except the Princess of Kingdom of Seoul. As for the rest, I would also advise you to focus on Louis being a main tank and Chloe being the backup DPS and healer that would just fly over the obstacles with her griffin. Although Fire Emblem Engage has some brilliantly designed characters and interesting interactions between, I tend to get the feeling that Awakening, Fates and Three Houses had more interesting side characters, I would say. Well, of course, time will show if they are memorable or not. Also, during your Fire Emblem Engage progress, you will see that you unlock achievements like defeat 100 enemies or do engage 50 times and stuff. And each unlocked achievement can grant you these bond fragments that will let you level up your bonds with different emblem rings with the characters that you like quite easily, minimizing the grind that you can do. Here I would advise you to either check any tier list or best emblem rings for characters kinda guides so that you won't spend your bond fragments for useless pairs. Just wanted to warn you about this if you hate spending time for level grind and stuff.
一曲お相手願います。
The old school Fire Emblem feeling is once again with us. The very same rock paper scissors system is the base gameplay of Fire Emblem Engage that you should never ignore. Swords beat axes, axes beat spears, and spears beat swords, and each of these advantageous weapons can inflict this break status that would force the attacked unit to drop its weapon, disabling any counterattacks. On the other hand, bows are hugely advantageous against flying units. They can basically one-hit any flying unit without any difficulty, and mages can inflict enormous damage against heavy armored units like Louis. As a side note, the maps are complex, open for planning, strategize, and easy to be punished when played on hard difficulty. It is best to plan which unit goes to where and the range of the units before you're finishing your turn if you plan to play on hard difficulty or classic mode that enables the permadeath. Though I think I would not recommend you to play on classic if you are not a Fire Emblem veteran, since some of the chapters require you to level up a lot or have really good gear and special classes that would help you to survive that level. Gameplay is the strongest point of Fire Emblem Engage, and just think of the possibility of different strategies that emblem rings grant, since with special weapons of these emblems, a tank character can use arrows to slaughter flying units, a spear unit can teleport to a faraway spot and then cast Ragnarok magic with Celica's ring, and the magician can be a good sword fighter with Roy, Leaf and Mart. Besides all of these gameplay mechanics, character designs and the atmosphere, I think the lighthearted story is what kinda upset me. As I said before, the power of friendship concept or the good versus evil kinda falls short, as bad guys being evil for no good reason, getting betrayed and killed during the process were handled multiple times during the story progress and kinda made me want to skip cutscenes for a couple of times.
この先どれだけ辛くても世界を救うまで戦いたいんです。あなたたちエンブレムのように。
その願い受け取りました。あなたに力を授けましょう。
On the other hand, some of the dialogues felt just bland and boring, and it's not just about the localization, but the Japanese lines were also quite shallow, without any interesting touches. I think Fire Emblem Engage could have been a better game with better story, dialogues and interactions, and early chapters can make people drop the game before the good part starts. Besides from the Crash Bandicoot influenced world map and the hub system that Three Houses brought, I think Fire Emblem Engage is the first must-play game of 2023 that deserves a chance. Just like the previous title, Somniel being the hub has stores, bond interaction cutscenes between the characters, and this one weird mini-game like ring polish, what piqued my curiosity. You choose one character and one emblem ring, and then you polish the emblem ring, while that emblem hero comments on what you do, like they can blush or get shy or kinda moan after a while. Who thought of this? If I were to summarize, Fire Emblem Engage is fun, challenging, and offers addicting battles and content with lots of different characters that would interest you either with their personality or design. It might seem like a fun service game for Fire Emblem fans with old characters coming back, but it's more than that, as I mentioned before. I think I would have preferred a darker, more grim, or maybe like a dark fantasy storytelling and role setting than just good versus evil concept, but still, gameplay hooked me to itself so much that I didn't make a big deal over it. If you have played Fire Emblem Awakening, Fates or Three Houses and liked what it offered, I think there is no reason that you would not enjoy Fire Emblem Engage also. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss my upcoming videos about Forspoken, Dead Space Remake, and suddenly announced Hi-Fi Rush, and newly released only in Japan, Disgaea 7.